we're ready to go.
Okay, so welcome everyone. My name is Siobhan Byrne-Larat and I am the owner of Adams and Butler. And Adams and Butler, as you know, are a specialist DMC for Ireland and for the UK and Africa as well. And we particularly love marketing the upper part of Ireland, which we call Upper Ireland, because it is sort of unknown, it's off the beaten track. It's perfect for clients who've gone through these challenging times and want to go to somewhere unique and different. So Gio is organising the event, but Rebecca has put everything together from the content side for this. So thanks a million to Rebecca for this one and for our last Northern Ireland one as well. She is our Northern Lassie. So she's up in Fermanagh at the moment, works in the Dublin office usually, but during these times she's working from home. So I would like to thank all the presenters who are on again with us today. So we are going to go first to Grey Abbey and we're going to meet Bill and Montgomery. So we just need to put the sound on there. We don't have the sound on there. Daphne or Bill, if you want to just unmute yourselves. Brilliant.
I think we got it.
Yep, we should have it now.
Okay. Is that okay?
So, how is the Newton Ards Peninsula?
Well, it's beautiful yesterday, almost today, raining yesterday, awful gales. But tomorrow we're promised, I think, 2 or 3 really good days.
Fantastic.
We're monitoring people checking in from California and Mexico, and I don't know what the weather's like in Milan. I suspect it's better than here.
Well, poor Texas has had snow.
I know, and we're having the sun and they're having the snow. So maybe we'll start by showing the video. What do you think?
That'd be great. Lovely.
Yeah, perfect. I've got the video ready here. I'm just going to go 2 seconds just before I show the video. I just want to show the map so that we can see where everyone is. So can everyone see my screen here? So the Northern Ireland here on the top of Ireland, Belfast being this area here. We're going to talk to Grey Abbey just now. And later on to Ballywalter. We're also going to have Hillsborough and then the Giant's Causeway. So first, we're going to Grey Abbey. So let me start with that video.
There we are. This is the third house to be built on the site. The first was built by an ancestor of mine called Sir James Montgomery, who came with his elder brother to Northern Ireland from Scotland in 1606. I suspect Sir James was attracted not only by the beautiful setting, but by the fact that 200 or 300 yards away from the house there's a ruined abbey, and being a lowland Scot, he could see the advantages of having a huge amount of stone available for him to build the house with. We don't know what the house looked like, but we suspect it was fortified. It wasn't obviously fortified well enough, because in the Great Rebellion of 1648, it was taken and burnt down. Legend has it that the stone which you can see out of that window is all that remains of that house. A new house was built to replace it, which was very much more of a manor house, and that was burnt down accidentally in about 1758. So the room that you and I are standing in is part of a house that was built from about 1760 to 62 and is thought by many to be a very good example of an Irish Georgian house of that period.
That's lovely.
Well, Siobhan, have you got a few stills?
We do have a few stills, but we were going to get Daphne to maybe talk about those. So do you want to tell us a bit about the American connection?
I'll talk about certainly. In a minute, you're going to see Hillsborough Castle and the wonderful grounds around it. In the 18th century, my ancestor was the MP for County Down, and as such, his patron was Lord Downshire, who lived at Hillsborough. At that point, they were actually called Lord Hillsborough rather than Downshire, and he was Secretary of State for the colonies, and it was under his rule that the British lost the rule of what's now the United States. It's perhaps no coincidence that one of my family, William Montgomery, was in the army in North America at the time, as was his cousin, Richard Montgomery. William died in 1781, attempting to lead the attack on
Fort Griswold.
On Fort
Griswold.
Griswold.
Griswold. Yes.
And he was killed by a freed slave with a spear. Contrary to that, his cousin Richard Montgomery had decided, having met a beautiful American and married her, he decided to change sides. So he was fighting for Washington, or with Washington, and Washington had made him a general. So General Montgomery, with his assistant, Benedict Arnold, crept out of New York, which was under siege, and moved northwards, raising an army as they went, and they successfully captured from the English Montreal, and basking in that success, they went down the St. Lawrence with the intention of capturing Quebec. And when they got to Quebec, they besieged it and offered the British the opportunity to surrender. They refused to. And so they stormed it, and the general died leading the attack, which is why you have in America, in all the old states, Montgomery County, and of course Montgomery, Alabama was also named in his honor, because Washington thought that every great cause needed a hero, and he decided that Montgomery would be that hero. So there are two great connections with your wonderful country if you're in America. We would love to welcome you here and see you here and show you some mementos of those two men.
And Bill, before we pass on to Daphne, can I just ask you to say very quickly just the connection with Hillsborough, since we'll be visiting Hillsborough later.
I'm not hearing that.
Hillsborough.
Hillsborough.
Yeah.
Hillsborough, you're going to see later today, aren't you?
We are. So you had a relative who was an MP in Dublin.
Yes, he was an MP in Dublin for County Down, and the great landowner in County Down at that point was Lord Hillsborough. And in fact, William Montgomery had a house in Hillsborough, as well as here at Grey Abbey. I've got a connection with Hillsborough in that I chair the advisory committee there, and I know you're going to see something really beautiful when you look at it later today.
Fantastic. Thanks a million, Bill. And Daphne, you're going to tell us about the house. So the house is perfect for individuals or for groups. And like, just if you can let us know as well, the largest group perhaps of people for a private dinner or lunch that you can take. And then you can tell us about the house and all its charms.
Yes, well, we can take 40, really. That is fairly squished. but we would be in 2 rooms then, with the dining room and the middle drawing room. But then we have had groups, especially from America, where we put a marquee on the lawn because we've got a hedge garden and it looks very, very nice in the hedge garden. So we try to, what we do have is we so enjoy having groups to eat with us, and so we eat in the dining room and we dine or we lunch or we tea, and we're told we have very good food. And so then we would tour the house. We would tour from top to bottom, and we would then see the garden and the collection of Southern Hemisphere plants, the orchard, the walled garden and the stables. And then of course, the Abbey, the 12th century Cistercian Abbey, which is absolutely beautiful and so historic. The great thing about this house is that it is a family house, because we have reared our 4 children here, and they have now produced 11 grandchildren for us.
Wow.
So come Christmas, come Easter, come the summer holidays, whenever they can, they come swarming in. And so it is so full of life, and we are very lucky.
So what's your idea? Like, obviously individuals, if we bring a couple or a few friends, but a nice number for you, would it be 20 people in the...
Yes. Well, we try to go for minimum 20, but then no, there's always the exception.
Yeah.
And so the dining room would certainly, we could eat 24 in the dining room, and which we do sitting down.
People would be happy to take those.
And then, of course, we would go into the middle drawing room for an extra table with our double tables.
Fantastic. So we're going to see some images. Giovanna, you have some images of Grey Abbey as well, don't you?
Yes, I mean, you've got, these will come up on the screen. We've got, now, yes, we've got all the,
Well, the first thing we have there is actually the facade of the side, I think. Well, the main house, actually.
Oh, yes, the Gothic room. That's right, which is our prize room because it's Georgian Gothic, looking out onto the first monastic medieval abbey, Christian, in Ireland. So yes,
and when I was there was amazing views of horses as well. You had horses outside.
Yes, we do. We have polo ponies for my son, and we keep them in the summer there in the fields, and then 2 older horses and 2 ponies, Lucky and Bluebell, for our grandchildren. So there they are. Yes, they're great. Yes, we love them. So yes. So this is the middle. That's the back drawing room.
Yeah.
And it's the Gothic room, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. And it is, so you'll see the Gothic architecture, and that was put on by Hugh Montgomery when he married Amelia Ward from Castle Ward, which is a totally Gothic-sided house, and it was put on in 1783.
Fantastic. So next slide, Giovanna, there.
So here is the dining room where we would sit, and we would then extend that table to fit about 22, 24, and then they've got a little table on the side. Yes. It's a hunting table.
That's the staircase.
And the staircase, yes. The famous staircase, which has, I will be telling you about, I think, Prince Michael of Greece, who stood at the bottom of the staircase to guide me to the ghost.
So Giovanna, yeah, brilliant. Oh, there we are. And do we have a photo of the bedroom, Giovanna? Oh.
Yes.
That's the room where the ghost.
There is the bed for the
So,
ghost.
Daphne, you knew you had one ghost, but it wasn't until Prince Michael of Greece came that you found out you had another.
No, that's right. We have, when Prince Michael came and had lunch with us in that dining room that you saw, and we were chatting away, and in the course of the conversation, came up the subject of ghosts and the paranormal. And of course, that is his great subject. He lectures and writes on that subject of basically what we call ghosts. And he said, "Oh, but you've got 2 ghosts here." And I said, no, we have only one, I'm afraid. And she is a nursery maid on the top floor where our children's bedrooms are. And our children know about her. Of course, they've never seen her, but they're very much aware of her and they love her. And she came to an untimely end, poor thing. And then Prince Michael said, at lunch, he said, "Okay, I'm going to stand you at the bottom of the stairs." And that staircase, he sent me up the staircase and he stood at the bottom and he said, go to the top, go to the, along the passage, turn to the corridor, turn left again. And in there you will see a bedroom with a ghost sitting on the bed. And he followed me up and he came in behind me and he said, there on the bed is this poor girl. She's in her late teens and she is so sad. Now, what had happened, because we found in our records and diaries and letters, this was Amelia. Amelia was one of 9 children of the Montgomery family. They were the grandchildren of the William Montgomery who built the present house. And she was very, very close in the 9 of children to one brother, Hugh Bernard. They were emotionally locked together, really, and they did everything together, wrote when he was away. He was in the army and he went out to fight to the Battle of Waterloo alongside the Duke of Wellington. And he was wounded and very soon afterwards died of his wounds at the battle. Now, it is on this bed, in this bedroom, that Amelia heard the news of the death of her adored brother at the age of 29, and she was completely distraught. And it is her little ghost which is on the bed now. And of course, Prince Michael, he said, yes, there she is. Of course, I was aware slightly because when my husband Bill and I first married, we slept in this bedroom. And after 6 months, I said, do you mind if we change bedrooms? Because there's a slightly sad atmosphere in this bedroom. So we are next door now, into a bedroom next door. But now, after Prince Michael had pointed all this out, the whole thing seemed to add up. And so that is the sad, sad story of our little ghost.
Fantastic. Just I put in the chat box there because like you can, if people can't manage your lunch or dinner because of their itinerary, but they go with the driver, etc., they can visit just for a coffee and a tour of the house. And you do amazing cakes. You do amazing cakes. I can attest to that.
Yes. We always meet in the dining room and certainly in the middle drawing room. If we're having lunch or dinner, we always like to serve a cocktail in the middle drawing room first. But certainly as a matter of speed, which is often the case, we're very happy to offer coffee, tea, and a scone or something like that.
So just to recap, because I know sometimes it's confusing, we show the bedroom to people, but that's because I wanted everyone to hear about all the stories and the interest within the house. But it's also perfect if you have a garden itinerary and you're bringing clients, like we're designing an itinerary for clients. Mount Usher Gardens are beside it as well. Mount Stewart Gardens are beside it as well.
Yes.
Not far from Ballywalter, who you meet later. So there's plenty, it's perfect for a garden itinerary and not far from fantastic golf courses as well. And indeed, Game of Thrones places of interest as well. So,
yes.
So it can be in any northern itinerary. And because it's close proximity to Belfast, which is, Daphne, 35 minutes, 40 minutes?
About 40 minutes and there we have, of course, Belfast, the Titanic. Belfast is a very happy city now, funnily enough.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a lot.
Nice atmosphere.
I'm just getting questions regarding how long for private visit. If they're not having lunch or dinner, perhaps 2 hours?
Yes, 2 hours, 2 hours, 2.5. And of course, you see, we find that so many of the groups are so interesting and interested.
Yeah.
And so, time, passes very quickly, funnily enough.
Yeah.
But about 2.5 hours would be about,
Well,
wouldn't it,
that
Bill,
does the
really?
gardens too.
Yes. And then, of course, the Abbey. It really depends
Yeah.
on the group.
Yeah, that's perfect.
We can make it longer, certainly. And of course, if we've had lunch, then it, depending again on the lunch, we can have a 3-course meal, we can have a 2-course meal.
Yeah.
And that would take a little more time. So like 2.5 hours, 3 hours.
Yeah, that's perfect.
It
Brilliant.
absolutely does. And we're very elastic.
Yes. And
Yes.
accommodating to our needs, whatever they might be.
Yes.
Thanks
And
Jill. And Madame,
yes,
thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
And welcome to what's
Thank
to
you.
come.
So Gio, where are we on to now? Or Rebecca, where are we on to now?
We're going to Richard with Aquaholics, sorry.
A Freudian slip?
Yeah, good evening or good afternoon to everybody. So I'm Richard, I run Aquaholics. We started off with a dive centre up on the north coast of Northern Ireland, maybe about 20, 30 years ago. And quite quickly we moved into not just the diving, but into sea safaris and showing people our marvellous coastline or marine life or geology or castles or myths, and seeing those by the sea and everything that encased greatly increased our business. And we currently have 3 boats and we keep upgrading our boats. So I've just sold one of them there a couple of days ago. I have another one coming now in 2 weeks' time. So we've progressed and keep progressing all the time.
Brilliant.
I think we're probably going to see a wee video and then we'll explain some more things.
You're ready. We'll go that first to give an idea. We'll be back to you in a minute.
Aquaholics is a diving business and we teach scuba diving to beginners and also to experienced divers. We also run a lot of boat trips, sea safari trips. The north coast of Northern Ireland is extremely popular for diving. We've got Rathlin Island here just to the north of us with the Skerries at Portrush, and also then we've got Malin Head off Donegal, and in that area we've got hundreds of wrecks, loads of soft coral reefs, drop-offs, walls, caves, so much life to explore. We're competing with destinations like Maldives, the Red Sea, the west coast of Scotland, and even the west coast of Ireland to attract our divers to this location. We decided last year to start investing in a new style of boat. It's called a catamaran, and it gives us a lot more space on board, as you can see. This new boat was really essential to our business because now what we can do is we've got a larger dive deck, we've got larger viewing platforms for non-divers, we've got heated cabins, we've got berths on board, we've a galley on board, we've toilet on board, and we've a high sea level so we can spot the wildlife easier for our customer. Aquaholics has great plans in the future with this new boat, with our own accommodation and with our shop. This boat enables us to attract more customers, offer a wider range of activities on the sea, and provide a far higher level of comfort for our visiting tourists.
That's amazing. The dolphins there as well. Is that where Fungi went?
Fungi is emigrated up to the north coast here. You're not going to believe this, but this, especially in 2020 and even now in the wintertime, we have the dolphins, a large pod of dolphins is more or less resident on the north coast around Rathlin Island, Giant's Causeway. We're virtually seeing dolphins nearly every day at the moment.
Brilliant. And there's questions coming in about whether people have to provide their own equipment or not.
We do everything, or we can provide everything, or people can bring their own. We cater for, just make one call to us or yourselves, and it's all provided if needed.
And how qualified will they need to be before they do something with yourselves?
It's a very good question. For people who are coming here to scuba dive, we have scuba diving here for all levels. We have shore sites at 2 or 3 meters of water, and then we've got some of the best technical wreck diving in the world. So just if you look at the geographical map of the North Coast, in World War I, World War II, all the shipping coming into the North Irish Sea, like into Liverpool, Glasgow, had to come past the North Coast. So the German submarine sat here and torpedoed away. Not good at the time, but at the moment it gives us a lot of sunken shipwrecks, sunken war wrecks. So those wrecks attract a lot of soft coral. So really, to answer your question, we're diving for all levels.
And what's the best time of year, or is there something like, can you tell us, the times that you can't do something for clients, or the times that are best? And if there's different activities for different times of the year?
Yeah, it's probably, if you're coming solely for diving, probably the best times are from April to October. The wildlife is there most of the year round, but our sea state is better from April to October.
And can you do anything in the winter months?
Yes, I was out on a boat this morning, transporting a nurse across to Rathlin Island. We do operate probably winter, December, January, and February is normally can be our worst sea conditions. But saying that, look at the conditions we're having at the moment. Sunday was beautiful. It's beautiful in the sea today. The forecast for this next 5 days is very good. So everything's possible, but certainly best time for weather, March to October.
And can you offer a cruise only experience? I'm reading the questions here. Can you offer a cruise only experience? How long would it last? And where is the place of getting on and the number allowed? Brilliant.
We cater for 12 passengers on each of our boats. So that's to sort of really give a good experience to the customer. And also they're not cramped. They have room they want to sit inside or sit outside. It meets everybody's needs. Where we operate from? Anywhere. We can move the boats very easily to any harbour. A lot of our main sites are really from the Giant's Causeway around the north coast, Fairhead, down to the Gobbins on the just north of Belfast. But we can do pickups and have done pickups really in the Western Scottish Isles, Northern Ireland, Isle of Man. I enjoy going somewhere different.
So I have been a great enthusiast of combining Scotland with Northern Ireland because I think it's just a fantastic combination. Are you saying you can pick people up in Scotland and bring them to Northern Ireland?
Yes. I don't know if you can see in the map behind me here, but literally 14 nautical miles away, we've got the Mull of Kintyre. And also then to the west of that, we've got the island of Islay. And Islay is quite famous for its whiskey and its golf. And journey time from Ballycastle to Port Ellen in Islay is about an hour and 15, an hour and 20 minutes. We like sometimes to give it a bit of a longer journey because to get to Islay, we go around Rathlin Island, marine life, the bird life is intense at Rathlin. So it's a lovely commute. And then the other...
Sorry, yep. Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, that's and then also at Campbelltown, we have whiskey distilleries and another links Macrahanish golf course there as well. So we are running boats fairly regularly back from Campbelltown to Ballycastle and also on to Port Ellen, as well as covering the whole north coast.
Fantastic. Gio, since you've got your little cursor moving around there, do you want to show where Glenapp is as well? Yes.
Google it, but it's around here.
Yeah.
So there.
Yeah, so like just so people see, Glenapp Castle that a lot of people are familiar with, is preferred with Virtuoso and Signature, etc. That's again not far from this area as well. So, and the other thing, Richard, is that you don't need to show a visa. There's no immigration or anything.
Yeah, it's a common travel area. So we are actually operating quite a lot at the moment from Campbelltown in Scotland to Ballycastle, just due to the current situation, because we're operating private hire boats, so it's a lot safer. We have very good procedures for that, and we're safe and clean. So we have private customers actually using us to transport between Campbelltown and Ballycastle. So we're in a common travel area, and everything's perfectly legal that way. We're not smuggling anybody.
Again, we've got any questions coming in here about where you're operating from. So basically, you can operate from all over. But
yes.
What's the most common request is around the Giant's Causeway and the North Antrim coast as such?
Yes, the North Antrim coast is spectacular. Where do we start? Every trip we do, sometimes if we're doing trips back to back, maybe doing 3 or 4 trips a day, myself and my skippers, we enjoy every moment of it. Every trip is different. We've the geology, we've the castles, we've the history, we've the stories, the Game of Thrones sites, with other film sites. Because we're a marine provider, we do provide a lot of marine logistics for the film industry. So we've worked with a lot of the major films, Game of Thrones. We've worked on all the series there, providing safety boats, setting up stunts. I actually pulled and drowned Arya Stark, Maisie, under the water in Carnlough. I spent 2 days with her She did all her own stunts. We had a stunt girl in for her that day, but Maisie decided to do her own stunts, and we had the pleasure of joining her.
No, it's brilliant. And also someone mentioned Turnberry as well as, you know, a place that's not far from the Scottish coast, to have that connection. That's brilliant. So is there anything I've not asked that I should have asked, Richard?
We just love doing, we love our job. We love our office that we work in. It's the seas, the environment. We love going to different places, and we just love making sure people enjoy what they do. And every day, every hour is different. The sea's changing, the weather's changing, the tides. And our water, people think initially that the waters here are cold. They're not. We're in a temperate water climate. Our seas get warmed by the Gulf Stream coming up the west of Ireland around to the north. So that brings a lot of nutrients in the water, a lot of food for the fish life. So quite regularly, we've got dolphins, we've got basking sharks, we've got whales. So we were sitting at the Giant's Causeway, just there for the view in the Giant's Causeway from the boat. Next minute, you have a basking shark or a whale sitting inside you as well. So everybody's happy.
Brilliant. So I'm just putting down in the chat box again, just 14 nautical miles from Northern Ireland to Scotland in a common travel area. And the other thing, most importantly, is you can customize whatever clients want, whether it's 2 people up to 12, or you could use if you both was a larger family group or whatever. And you will do whatever clients want you to do within reason and once it's legal.
Within reason and it's legal, yeah. No, we enjoy it. We work. Some people want to go out for a sunrise to work at the Giant's Causeway. Some people want to watch the sun setting. We're out there doing everything.
Fantastic. Thanks a million, Richard.
Thank you.
So where are we on to now, Gio?
I believe we're going to Ballywalter to meet the Dunleath. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hello, can you hear us?
You're live. So how are things? Long time no see.
Indeed it is. Strange times we live in.
I know. But so just to get again, do you want to show the map again, Gio? Or, well, actually, you're right. You're not far from Grey Abbey. So people remember that from before.
Miles, I mean, they're on Strangford Lough and we're on the other side of the peninsula looking out on the Irish Sea and also once again to Scotland, which is not that far away.
Yeah, and I think I was in Glenapp and you were in Glenapp the week previously. Do you remember that?
Right, yes. I mean, that was our only holiday last year with the lockdown. We had 3 days at Glenapp. It is a truly lovely place. I have to say, promoting the opposition. It's further south from there. It's south of Girvan. It's actually at Ballantrae. Yeah, that's about it there, I would say. Yeah, it's a hotel, but it doesn't feel like a hotel until you come to pay the bill.
And unlike Grey Abbey, you actually will host clients overnight, so they can stay with you.
Indeed, we have a full certification from Tourism Northern Ireland, the Northern Ireland Fire and Rescue Service, and we have 5-star food hygiene certificate. My wife is a professional food historian, so it's pretty good, and we have got a total of 12 bedrooms here, 10 doubles and 2 twins, and 10 of the bedrooms are en suite, and the other 2 each have their own private bathroom.
And then if you have availability and clients are not in-house as such, and by the way, I found it very funny one time because I remember we had clients there and you flew the flag for them. I think it was a Texan flag or something.
Yes, we have a pretty good range of flags. Sadly, at the moment, we can't fly the European Union flag, but we live in hope that those days may come back again. But no, we have a good selection of flags. We certainly have Canadian, American, Australian, the US Virgin Islands, most of the European countries. So, and we will quite happily acquire a flag to match a nationality. And of course, our clients, if they want to fly their own flag, we can do that for them as well. And that does prove to be extraordinarily popular.
It is, especially if people can take a photograph afterwards and show it. So if you have availability, though, you can take groups, like we were talking about garden groups earlier. So architectural groups, garden groups, any type of groups for lunch or dinner, provided you've no clients in situ.
Absolutely, we can indeed, and we again, like our friends Bill and Daphne, we are infinitely flexible. An ideal number probably for us is somewhere around about 55 to 60, but about 18 months ago, we in fact had a dinner here for something called the Ireland Funds, which is a wonderful group of Irish Americans who raise vast amounts of money for the island of Ireland. And we had a dinner here for 96 people. So, and it was one of the most happiest evenings that I can ever remember.
But you'd also be happily accommodate 2 people for dinner if it was the right.
Yes, I mean, obviously, like everything else, there are economics, and there certainly comes, as you know, economy with scale. So I guess the more people there are, you know, the less expensive per person it will become.
But for those that want a private experience and are willing to pay for it.
Oh yes, I mean, again, we are, as I say, totally flexible, and we can do literally anything. I think the smallest group we have actually had here at the moment is, I think, 6 or 8 from memory. But you know, if 2 people want to come and have a sort of intimate dinner with us, we're up for that.
Fantastic. And I love the idea as well, Vibs, that you do Victorian menus, and you have a garden as well, don't you? That you grow your own.
Yes, we have about a 3-acre walled garden, and we have a wonderful head gardener who can grow almost anything, which of course is what the walled garden is all about. You extend the season both in the spring and in the autumn, so you can grow very exotic things. You know, I have apricots and peaches, and I have muscat grapes, and I just have the most wonderful range of the fruit and vegetable. And then I rear my own veal calves. So we have roast veal, and my neighbors have the beef and the sheep and the lamb. Wow. So, and then we, as my husband said, we are less than half a mile from the sea. So we have a local fisherman who is happy and at the moment very keen to supply. And also I, you know, for bigger groups, I have an account with a wholesale fisherman in Portavogie. That's it, Portavogie. So that, you know, we can do anything really.
And you have a very good wine cellar, if I remember correctly.
Yes, I worked for about 15 years in the wine trade in England and in France, in the main, and we import all our wines direct from France, either through contacts we have in Champagne, Burgundy, Chablis, Bordeaux, and the Loire Valley, or we buy them en primeur, and we have in the past, through the good offices of Bill Montgomery, bought wine at auction through Sotheby's. And on the subject, I might just add, of the produce, in the wall garden, we have 7 glass houses, which is quite rare to still have them. And they were very, very severely trashed by Storm Brendan in the autumn of 2019. But we were very fortunate, our insurers were very merciful, and we have completely rebuilt 3 of them as new glass houses, and 3 of the others have been repaired. So we will have that heat option for fruit and vegetables going forward into the future, which is great.
And just before we look at the video, still 45 minutes out of Belfast?
Yeah, 40 minutes. I mean, we are literally 5 minutes from Grey Abbey. We're about 40 minutes from the city airport, 45 minutes to the city centre if guests are staying in hotels there rather than staying with us. Yeah.
And just when people are staying with yourselves, they could always go and have a visit in Grey Abbey with the Montgomerys and visit Grey Abbey itself. So I just realised, because even though we spent a lot of time in Grey Abbey, we forgot to mention the actual old ruins of Grey Abbey as well.
The ruins of the Abbey, and then of course the antique shops in Grey Abbey, and we're also very convenient for matching visits to Mount Stuart, which you mentioned, and to Castle Ward, which Daphne mentioned, and to Roallan Gardens, which are outstanding.
So really the ideal place to stay if you're doing a garden tour or architectural fine arts.
Absolutely, and we can accommodate up to 24 people, depending on, you know, whether there are couples, and obviously mindful of the fact that most of our bedrooms are doubles. So unless you are really close, you know, they're not suitable for sharing.
Yeah. Do we have a video there, Gio?
Yes, so get that.
Hopefully. We should have including one we shot just today
Yes, this
of
one's
the
a
dining room.
room that we received today.
Go.
And now we move on into the dining room. And in the centre, we have this magnificent table built by Harland and Wolff, also known for having, of course, built the Titanic. It's laid up for a dinner. You'll see lots of wine glasses here to accommodate the wines from our cellar stocks of about 4,500 bottles. And over here on the sideboard, we have 2 urns lined with lead in which you can cool and chill your bottles of champagne and wine. Various portraits around the room. John Mulholland, the first Lord Dunleath, my great-great-grandfather, and his wife Frances Lyle. A great aunt of mine, Daphne Mulholland. The food that you have here is all, the menus are personally selected by my wife, Lady Dunleath, who is a professional food historian, and her ethos is to use produce sourced either from the estate, from the sea half a mile away from here, or from carefully selected suppliers within a 30-mile radius, so no food miles come into the equation. The centrepiece here is an épergne presented to my great-great-grandfather by the Royal Thames Yacht Club, because he had commissioned a very successful racing schooner called the Egeria, which won no less than 6 Queen's Cups, which were presented personally by Queen Victoria at Cowes on the Isle of Wight. So we very much look forward to welcoming you here to a safe environment when circumstances allow.
It's a little bit dark, but you get an idea of the dining room. But
Yes, I see somebody there asked about the family.
Mulholland.
Yes, it is Mulholland.
Yeah.
Although I am in fact now Lord Dunleath, which is the title bestowed on my great-great-grandfather, and Dunleath is a derivative from the Irish word for Downpatrick, where he had been Member of Parliament in the 19th century. And I would just add, Mulholland, our name suggests we are an Irish family. We're not an Anglo-Irish family or a Scottish family. We were the keepers of St. Patrick's Bell way back in the 14th century. So I guess we have been here forever. And I would just add, with the Irish connection, of course, there is Mulholland Drive in Los Angeles. And my elder son, Andrew, actually lives and works in the United States. He is married to an American, Anna, and I now have an American grandson with an American passport called Max. They are currently based in New York, but he has just taken up a very high-powered new IT directorship job with the Apple Corporation, and he is moving to the Bay Area in San Francisco later this year, and we plan to go out and visit them and then fulfill the dream of going to see Mulholland Drive, of which, of course, there is a very famous painting by David Hockney in the Los Angeles County Museum of Art, which we would like to see as well. Thank you for the welcome to the Bay Area. Yes, and the spelling of Dunleath, that's right. It gets confused because on the Antrim coast, where Aquaholics operate, there is a Lord Dunluce, and we often get confused between the two of us.
I remember when I first started working with yourselves, I used to get mixed up between Dunluce and Dunleath, and this, you know what I mean? But it's amazing the wealth of places to visit on that coast, like from all the way around. It's amazing. It's fantastic.
It's superb. And I noticed you put up on the screen that we are only about an hour's drive at the most across Strangford Lough on the ferry from the Royal County Down Golf Club at Newcastle, which is, I think, rated to be amongst the 10 best links courses in the whole world. It's a fantastic place to go and play golf.
And just, it's a good occasion now to remind people, if you have anyone with this from Montgomery, with the surname Montgomery, anyone with the surname Mulholland, they love when you suggest an itinerary and there's a namesake included in that itinerary. So, you know, anyone out there, think of all your clients that you may have, because I know I was in North Carolina and one of the companies there I always get mixed up whether it's Greenville or Greensborough, and they had clients with the name Mulholland, and we were talking about Ballywalter. So do bear that in mind, everyone out there, when you're designing itineraries, we can include namesake. So so that's fantastic. Is there anything we left out, Brian, before we move on?
Well, I would just add, yes, we know of Mulhollands not only in the United States and Canada, but also in Australia. And I don't know, Vaughan, if you know, I have a cousin, Richard Mulholland, who has a lovely house, Balliscullion Park, built by the same architect as here up in County Derry. And they are very happy to welcome groups there for lunch. And it's a good stopping off point, particularly if you're going up to the North Coast or coming from the North Coast, having been out on some of those wonderful looking like red bay boats with aquaholics.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is. That's like it is fantastic. The wealth of things to do up there that a lot of people don't know about. It's a hidden part, a hidden gem, really.
Yep, indeed. Someone's saying, don't forget Mulholland Drive in Hollywood. Absolutely right. Yep.
So that's brilliant. Thank you very much, both of you.
Thank you. And stay safe.
Yes,
Thanks a lot. And I'll be up there shortly. As soon as, things get back to normal, I'm going to go up there and we're going to put some itineraries to bed. So, Giovanna, I think we're going to Hillsborough now, is it?
Yes, we're going
Hi, Alan.
Hello there. Good afternoon.
So you have to tell us, people don't know about the connection between Hillsborough and Queen Elizabeth.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I suppose that the main thing I have to tell you about Hillsborough Castle and Gardens is that in the present days, it is the home of the royal family of Her Majesty the Queen, and any time that they carry out any engagements in Northern Ireland, it is at Hillsborough Castle that they stay. And it's a great introduction for me because the previous speakers have been able to introduce in various very historic ways the fact that the castle was, of course, the family home of the Hill family, the Marquesses of Downshire, Lord Hillsborough, as Bill Montgomery quite correctly pointed out at the time when America was forging its way towards independence. So it started out as a family home, as I say, of the Hill family back in the 18th century. The castle, which presents rather more like a house. It has the name of the castle because, as is the way of large country houses in Ireland and Scotland, it often takes the name of a previous dwelling. And there is a fort within the town of Hillsborough, which was the previous home of the family, built sometime in the mid 17th century. So the present house that we call Hillsborough Castle today is in fact 18th century and was the replacement home, a slightly grander home just across the road from the first house. So yes, we are the official residence of the royal family, and indeed the Queen, through her long reign, has visited the castle somewhere, I think it's 25 or 26 times. It was originally, as I say, a family home, one of several family homes of the Hill family, who were major landowners throughout Ireland, in fact, throughout the eastern side of Ireland. And in terms of the American connection, which we've alluded to already, it's quite correct that Lord Hillsborough was indeed a Secretary of State in George III's cabinet. So if we go back to the 1760s, 1770s, the gentleman who built the castle, Wills Hill, was that Secretary of State. And in fact, probably the castle would only have been about 20 years old when a certain Benjamin Franklin was visiting Ireland. He came to Ireland in 1771 and was basically conducting I suppose, a survey of how Britain looked after what were in those days, of course, essentially colonial possessions. And it's probably, I think it's diplomatically okay for me to say that he maybe came to the conclusion that things weren't entirely as he would have preferred them. And of course, we know the history between America and Britain since then. But it was essentially Wills Hill's job to keep North America within what would have been the empire. And we know, of course, how that worked out. So talks and diplomatic negotiations have taken place at the castle really from the early days. In fact, Benjamin Franklin was trying to avoid coming to Hillsborough. He was on his way to visit the Archbishop of Armagh, but his carriage broke down. And the next available family from whom he could avail of some assistance was the Hill family at Hillsborough. So he stayed a number of days at the castle and held talks while he was there with Wills Hill. Of course, they may not have seen eye to eye entirely on the political matters, and the rest, as they say, is history, but they were said to have got on fairly well in personal terms. Bringing the story a little bit closer to the present day, in the 20th century, the history of Ireland developed in such a way that, of course, Northern Ireland was created in 1921. And by that stage, the Hill family moved to some of their other properties. The castle was, in fact, put up for sale. And ultimately bought in 1925 by the British government. And by that stage, with Ireland being partitioned and there being Northern Ireland and at that stage the Irish Free State, the governorship of Ireland was altered to reflect the fact that there were two jurisdictions within the island. So the governorship of Northern Ireland was created, and Hillsborough Castle then became the home of the governors of Northern Ireland between the 1920s and the 1970s. There were 5 governors in that time, and then of course that position was abolished in 1972, and we now have Secretaries of State for Northern Ireland that sit within the British Cabinet, and Hillsborough Castle remains the home of the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland. So we're a working building, not only being a royal residence, but also being the home of the Secretary of State when he or she is in residence in Northern Ireland. And that's kept us very much at the heart of political developments within Northern Ireland over the past 20, 30 years. So if you think of the peace process and many of the agreements and negotiations that have taken place, a large number of those have actually been either negotiated at the castle or have been discussed and leading to those negotiations being concluded.
And Alan, it's like I'm trying to think. Is it 20 minutes from Belfast, south of Belfast City?
Yeah, I would say about 25 minutes. Yeah, absolutely.
I drive fast.
Yeah, well, I drive fast also. I usually say 20, but then I was thinking of the times that everybody else was saying, and I thought, oh, I could get to Grey Abbey a little bit quicker than that. But but yes, it does depend how quickly you drive. It's conveniently located, I suppose, on the north-south access. It's on the main road that runs between Belfast and Dublin. We're about 25 minutes from Belfast, or if you're going in the other direction, about an hour and a half's drive from Dublin.
So actually, if people were arriving into Dublin early in the morning, it'd be a good first stop to visit if they were heading north from, like, just to let people know, Dublin Airport is on the north side of Dublin City, and Belfast is less than 2 hours from Dublin. So the thing is that you can actually go into Dublin and have lunch in Belfast, or even mid-morning break. So Hillsborough would be perfect to visit. If you're arriving in early.
It is, absolutely. And in terms of, I suppose, what we offer, we offer guided tours of the castle. We have 100 acres of gardens, but also we do have, we have a great cafe and restaurant. We grow food and vegetables in our walled garden as well, which is then served in our cafes. So again, even if it is from that point of view of being a place to stop off, there's great food to be served on the way to somewhere else, but also there's an opportunity then to come in and enjoy the gardens and take a tour of the castle as well.
And just before we leave, by the way, do we have a video or photo or anything?
Yes, we have a short video now just to see.
And then just the other thing is it possible to arrange private dinners and lunches for clients?
It is absolutely, and also private tours. So we have a general visitor offer, which is guided tours of the castle, but it's also possible to have private tours, and they can be special. They can specialize in particular areas. So we obviously have a very strong royal connection, a political connection. So we have a royal tour, political tour, but also being able to avail of the royal collection itself, which is obviously one of the biggest, most impressive art collections in the world. And we have really fantastic pieces of art on display in the castle. So we have an art tour as well. So that's also something that we can offer as a specialist tour. And it can be, we can obviously we offer group tours, but it can be private tours, can be 1 or 2 people, you know, right through to anything up to 25 people per tour.
Brilliant.
But yes,
I'm getting some private messages here, just people, you know, asking questions. So that's why I keep on asking. But for those journalists or media who are sending questions, you know, we'd be delighted to put together an itinerary for you to do a tour of these places at any time. So, you know, Adams and Butler, that's what we do. You know, we look after clients, but we're always trying to promote these fantastic itineraries so that it's easier for the advisors to sell them. So any journalists or media who are there, we would be delighted to host you on a trip of these wonderful places, because I'm just getting those questions in as well. So, yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, actually, if you have the video there, because I've just talked and talked. So
here we go.
Alan, it's officially a royal palace, isn't it, as well?
It is, yes. So I work for historic royal palaces, and we look after six sites, 5 of which are in London. If I was to say names, the Tower of London, Hampton Court Palace, Kensington Palace, those are very well recognised. But in terms of, yes, it is. It's the official residence of the royal family. So it is a royal palace. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks a million, Alan. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Jill, we're off to our last partner of the day. So where are we going to?
The Giant's Causeway, they couldn't be here with us today. They have a video, but we also have a little presentation. I think you wanted to talk.
Yeah, yes, we have we've Stormont, I think, coming up. Yes, so this is Stormont. So this is the seat of the National Assembly in Northern Ireland. So, you know, the government, for want of a better word. But this is really a fantastic, beautiful building, again, for anyone interested in architecture. And one of the crazy stories about it was that it was covered in tar, I think, during World War II. But it really is an amazing place to visit. And then I think we have the City Hall of Belfast as well. Again, you can see the architecture there. And like, if you saw the newsletter that went out with Hillsborough, like when we were picking the photo, you know, you thought it was sort of like somewhere in Italy or in Greece. These are outstanding buildings, and a lot of people don't know about them. So there's so much more to do when you visit Belfast. You know, Titanic is amazing, but there's more than the Titanic in Belfast. And the next, and then of course we go on to the Giant's Causeway. So like, you can see the wealth of places to visit and all different types of things to keep different interests within a group or within a family occupied. And actually that's my son Sabaya. So he was born in Kenya, and one of his first visits when he came to Ireland was actually up to the Giant's Causeway, and he loved it. But I always think they should use that photo in their marketing because he was just so happy when he visited Giant's Causeway.
And we also have another picture here, which no one's seen yet, that Rebecca's just sent to us.
Yes, and that shows you. So Rebecca, is that dawn or is it dusk?
That was sunset, so dusk.
Sunset, yeah, it's amazing. It's just so beautiful, isn't it? And you can see how brave this Northern Lassie is. Is that ice there? That was during the depths of winter, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the New Year. I think it froze the start of the New Year, and that was, yeah, a chilly one for sure.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But it just shows you the beauty. Thanks a million for sharing that, Rebecca.
No
So
worries.
Gio.
And then I'm just gonna go on. We have a video. Oops, just give me a second. We have a video from Giant's Causeway. Unfortunately, they couldn't be here right now. Let me just start sharing then.
Welcome to the Giant's Causeway, Northern Ireland's only UNESCO World Heritage Site. The Giant's Causeway is owned and cared for by the National Trust, Europe's largest conservation charity. As a conservation charity, it's important that we appreciate the rural landscape and embrace the local knowledge that exists within these special places. We look forward to welcoming you to this magnificent place and have developed a selection of collaborative signature experiences. These unique and authentic experiences have been developed to ensure you have an unforgettable time doing something a little bit different, creating cherished memories of this amazing place and the people who make it so special. They are designed to enhance your visit, celebrating the culture and stories from the Causeway Coast, connecting with locals as they share their knowledge, passion and history. Take the slow road to the Giant's Causeway and hear all about this amazing World Heritage Site and of course the world's oldest whisky distillery, Old Bush Mills. Your storytelling guides will immerse you in tales of the great legend of Finn McCool and stories of a bygone era where the winding river bush connects basalt and whisky. Sheltered amongst the majestic columns, you can enjoy the waves and views. Experience the spectacular coastline of the Causeway Coast and connect with nature on a 5-mile walk through the stunning World Heritage Site. Escape to a place that few explore and immerse yourself in a landscape that is simply breathtaking. Experience the Causeway Coast from a completely different point of view, from aboard an 11-metre rib. Take an exhilarating boat trip from the lovely town of Ballycastle and you will see well-known landmarks such as Carrick-a-Reed Rope Bridge and the Giant's Causeway like never before. View the dramatic causeway columns as they rise up from the sea to meet the cliff paths around the 5-mile World Heritage Site. Follow in the footsteps of generations of salmon fishermen across the exhilarating Carrick-a-Reed Rope Bridge and down to the whitewashed stone fisherman's cottage that provided shelter and a place to rest for the men who once earned their living there. Immerse yourself in stories of a fishing industry that sustained generations of local families. Thank you for your interest. By supporting our work, you are helping to ensure special places like this are cared for and protected for future generations. If you have any specific requests, please speak to us. We can work with you to offer bespoke tours and packages customized to fit your itinerary.
So that's one thing that we really are trying to get the message across, that like Giant's Causeway, everyone knows it as one of the fantastic places to visit when you go up to Northern Ireland, but you can do just much more than visit. Like you can do a lot of private experiences there, and we saw there with Aquaholics what they do, that you can see it from the other side, from the sea, and it's like you're going to a different place to visit, because it's so different when you see it from that other perspective. So I think we've answered all the questions, Gio. If anyone wants to mute themselves and ask any other questions, please feel free. And also though, want to thank all the presenters. It's great, and it's lovely to hear about like how what we're trying to do each time we do these webinars is think of putting an itinerary together with sort of partners that fit together, just to make it a full experience, and you really feel that you get those memorable experiences with the family or with your friends that last a lifetime. But to sort of get them all to interlink and you know, to just build on the synergy that exists between all the partners and all the properties. I love that people come in at 5 o'clock, people come in when we're over, but anyway, a lot of people are entering now as well. So anyone want to add anything, even from the Adams and Butler team? So thanks to Gio, to Rebecca, to Richard. I think Rachel was there as well. If any of the presenters would like to add anything as well, or any of the attendees.
Everyone's quiet today.
I know. But it's amazing, your photos, Rebecca. Like when you look at your photos of having those daily dips and the areas, it's just fantastic. It really is fantastic.
I think it's kept me seeing over the last year, definitely.
I know. But there's nothing better than that wonderful countryside, because it's really raw countryside.
Yeah, I'm very lucky, definitely.
Siobhan, hello.
Yes.
Hi. Siobhan, Rebecca, Giovanna, and all the team, thanks so much for putting this together. I know how much work it is for you all, and thanks to everybody from all around the world who's come in, and also great to meet Alan at Hillsborough Castle, to meet Bill and Daphne again, to meet Aquaholics, and to sort of meet the National Trust at the Giant's Causeway, even if they weren't there in the flesh. So thanks, guys, very much.
Even an invitation. Whenever you're in LA, Evelyn has said that if you're in LA and want to contact her, Evelyn, are you still around?
No, I think she had to sign up at 6 o'clock for meeting, but I can pass on the details.
We can do that through you when we get there. Goodness knows when we're going to be allowed to go to LA, and in fact, I'm not allowed to do long haul anymore. But my son Andrew's come up with a cunning plan. He said what we should do is fly with Aer Lingus from Dublin to Chicago, which of course is not that long a flight. And then I believe there is a 2-day overnight train from Chicago to San Francisco. And as I do happen to really be rather like trains, that's something I'm very much up for.
Yeah. And we have a friend who's an actress and director called Joanna Carnes, and we'll be visiting her in Santa Barbara while we're there.
And we're having a glass of champagne to celebrate a very, very enjoyable
Very,
Zoom
very
meeting.
good. Really good.
It's a pity I didn't have a virtual straw.
I'm sure it can be arranged. God bless. Take care and stay safe, everybody.
Thanks a lot. And we will be sending out a recording to everyone as per usual, to everyone who registered. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us, both as a presenter and as an attendee. And we'll see you next week with information on Haunted Ireland. We'll have a webinar on Haunted Ireland, which Eileen from our team will be putting together. So thanks, everyone. See you next Wednesday at 5 o'clock Irish time, noon Eastern time, and 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So thanks, Gio. Thanks, Rebecca.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.